Hi classmates! So today our topic is about hunting and gathering. But before that, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Angel Rain Sedanyo Tubog, who assigned to discuss this topic. And now I have my laptop here, my presentation to guide me with my reporting today, and I will flash my presentation here. Yeah, for you to be guided. So here are my objectives. First is to describe the lifestyle and the main characteristic of hunting and gathering societies. Number 2 is to explain how early humans depended on nature for food and survival. And lastly, to recognize the role of the hunting and gathering period in the development of human civilization. The hunting and gathering is the earliest form of human society which exists 2 million years ago until 10,000 BCE, and people during this time survived by hunting animals and gathering fruit, nuts for food, and they did not have permanent homes. Instead, they moved place to place to search food. So let's proceed to the main characteristic of hunting and gathering. So I will only discuss the 3 main characteristics. So we have the nomadic lifestyle, small groups, and the last is the simple tools. So let's start with nomadic lifestyle. So people during this time, of course, they move place to place to find food and water. And like what I said earlier, they don't have a permanent place, and they did not stay for that place for too long because when food is run out, they needed to move to another place to find food and water. And in this kind of lifestyle, it's called a nomadic lifestyle. Okay, number 2, we have the small group. Okay, group or band is usually made up of families, and people during this time, they live in a small group talaga. So this kind of situation is made it easier for them to travel, to go place to another place, and it is easier to them to share food. Okay, again, when we say small group, it's made up of families that it made it easier to them to travel and to share food. Okay, and lastly, we have the simple tools. So this kind of tools is made up of stone, bones, and woods, and people during this time, they use these simple tools for hunting animals and for gathering fruits for their food. Again, when we say simple tools, these tools is made up of stone, bone, and woods, and people during this time, they use these simple tools for hunting and gathering for their food. And that's all, everyone. Thank you!
Number 1, no private property. Lahat ay pinahatian ng mga kasaping grupo. Noong sinaunang panahon, walang sinabi na akin ito o iyo ito. Ang lahat ng bagay ay pag-ari ng buong grupo. Halimbawa, kapag may isang lalaki na kahuli ng usa, hindi lang siya ito kakainin mag-isa. Ipapahagi niya ito sa buong grupo upang lahat ay makakain. Equal rules. Karaniwang ang mga lalaki nagangaso ng hayop, samantala ang mga babae naman ay nangunguha ng mga halaman at nag-aalaga ng mga bata. May kanya-kanyang tungkulin ang bawat isa. Ang mga lalaki ay nagpoprotekta at naghahanap ng karne, habang ang mga babae ay nagtitipon ng pagkain at nag-aalaga sa pamilya. Halimbawa, habang ang mga lalaki ay nasa gubatan para maghuli ng baboy ramo, ang mga babae naman ay nangunguha ng prutas at ugat at inalagaan ang mga batang naiwan sa kampo. Number 3, close relationship with nature. Nakasanayan ang kanilang kabuhayan sa kapaligiran, kaya ito ang kanilang inagalang. Dahil sa kalikasan nila, nakukuha ang mga pagkain at tirahan. Pinamahalagahan nila ito at inalagaan. Halimbawa, bago mangaso o mag-ani, magsasagawa muna sila ng ritual bilang pagsasalamat sa kalikasan o sa mga espiritu na nirahan sa kagubatan at ilog.
So, hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk about the pastoral society. So, what is pastoral society? A pastoral society is a group of people who live by raising and taking care of animals, like cows, sheep, goats, and camels. They use animals for food and clothing and transportation because they need grass and water for the animals. They often move from one place to another, and this is called being nomadic. People in this society usually live in small groups or tribes, and they help each other to survive. The leader is often someone with the most animals or the most experience in herding. So, in short, pastoral societies focus on animals, herding, and were an important step in human development because people learn to produce food through animals.
Everyone, my name is Bijo Sabanal. Today I will give you an example of pastoral society. One of the good example of pastoral society can be found in Africa. An example of this, the Maasai tribe, who define their cattle for milk, meat, and hides are their main source of food, livelihood. They often move from the place to place to find grass and water from their animals.
Good day everyone. The topic we have picked is the Horticultural Society, which is nag-exist noong 8,000 BCE to 3,000 BCE, but it still existed right now, lalong-lalo na sa lugar sa Mindanao, which is in the Ifugao de Manobo. So what is Horticultural Society? Horticultural Society is a type of simple society where people survive mainly by growing plants, fruits, and vegetables using basic tools like stake, hose, or digging tools. No big machine, or wala silang ginagamit na big machinery or advanced machinery, and the only mainly ginagamit lang nila is usually the hand tools or the easy to make na mga tools. In a horticultural society, they only have small place na pwede taniman. Wala silang big farm na katulad ngayon na nakikita natin. So maliit lang yung place nila, maliit lang ang community, and also maliit lang ang place na pwede ng taniman, which is yung pagtatanim naman nila is the way for them to survive. So commonly they are living in a small community na para bang bali malaki pa ang barangay, so it's like a barrio talaga. Like for example in the Philippines is parang kaunti lang na talagang lugar ang meron sila. Yun yung horticultural society noon. So, and of course, they only have small place to plant, and the only thing to survive noon for them is ang magtanim. So, kahit gaano kaliit ang tinataniman nila or gaano kaliit ang place na tinataniman nila is they continue doing it, they continue planting kahit maliit, because planting food and vegetables is the only way for them to survive. Bali, hindi din nila yon binibenta. Bali, like what I said, planting fruits and vegetables, is the only way for them to survive. So, bale, hindi nila yun binibenta kasi kung mabibenta pa sila, it's there a possibility na paano kung malugi sila, paano kung maubusan sila, paano kung maubusan sila. So, definitely, magiging affected yung family, yung community, even their self. And then, pwede naman silang magbenta if you're going to ask, but their top priority is yung family at community talaga nila. And another thing in horticultural society is they are the type of society na palipat-lipat. Hindi sila settled na place, wala silang permanenting place to live kasi kahit maliit lang sila is kailangan nilang lumipat, lalong-lalo na kung pangit na ang lupain na tinataniman nila. Kung hindi na maayos ang bunga, kung mahina na ang pagbubunga kasi hindi na ayos ang bunga is affected yun sa pamumuhay nila, may possibility to have na magkaroon ng mag-starve or even death. May posibilidad na ganon. So if you're going to ask if bakit sila nagmo-move ng place to another if yung lupa is hindi na maganda, of course planting is there, paulit-ulit planting is their way to live, to survive. So kung hindi na maayos ang pagbunga, hindi na maayos ang lupa, that would be mean wala na silang kakainin, wala na silang ma-deliver to their family, to the community. Horticultural society is really known of their shifting cultivation or palipat-lipat na taniman. Sa ganyang kaugalian is it's not easy for them to look for another place to move kasi need nila na siguraduhin na mayabong ang lupa, na maganda itong taniman, tong lupain na ito. And also they're struggling too because lumilipat sila together with their family and the community. Hindi naman pwedeng iwan nila yung family nila, yung community nila sa lugar na hindi na maaaring taniman o hindi na masaganang taniman. Nahihirapan din sila kasi dala-dala nila ang buong community. So one of the example na nabibelong sa Horticultural Society is from the Ifugao, yung mga kababayan natin sa Ifugao. Known din sila for shifting cultivation, which is palipat-lipat na lugar to look for a better na taniman or better na lupain para taniman. And also in the Bagobo Manobo, which is here in the Mindanao, hindi na masyadong marami but still mayroon pa rin, which is nagtatanim pa rin sila, nagtatanim ng kahit ano for them to live, and then nandun pa rin yung ang kaugalian na lumilipat to look for the place na maganda, to look for the lupain na maganda. And also that sa tribo sa Papua New Guinea is still using a small tools. Diba ang Horticultural Society is gumagamit sila ng mga simple nga tools, sa mga maliliit na tools, lalong-lalo na hand tools, and then yung mga makikita lang sa paligid or magagawa lang, walang big machinery, walang mga advanced technology. So ang tribo sa Papua New Guinea is belong siya sa horticultural kasi nagko-continue pa rin ang using nila ng small and simple na mga tools. To sum up all, horticultural is simple lang, more on for their family, for the community, using small tools, simple tools, and mayroon pa rin relevance and big impact ang nakaugalian noong mga tao sa Horticultural Society, which is madadala natin from here to then. That's all. That would be all. Thank you so much.
Horticultural societies are small communities focused on local foods production through small-scale farming with basic tools. They grow crops like bananas and rice, often using shifting cultivation. For example, the Yanomami are an indigenous group in Amazon rainforest who practice slash and burn horticulture, growing crops like bananas, cassava, and sweet potatoes in small garden plots. Their society is egalitarian and deeply connected to the natural environment. Number 2. For example, the Tobrian and Islanders of Papua New Guinea are known for their unique cultural practice centered around yam cultivation, with hold and significant social and symbol value. They use simple tools to cultivate their gardens, and their societies feature a complex system of reciprocal gift with reciprocal gift giving, with yams playing a central role in society exchange and ceremony.